Where do you think he's got to? Dakar Ironclaw shifted the weight of his shield and peered down the dark tunnel. Stone and stars. Scouts are the absolute worst. Careful, Ironclaw. That's my cousin you're talking about. He may only be a scout, but he has the blood of House Grandrock in his veins. Same as I do. Valrar Goldendelver grinned. Aye, that he does. I'm just saying, scouts have a tendency of getting themselves into trouble, and we don't know what's in these tunnels. Shaking her head and priming her battle rifle, Val said, Truth. Lead on, Ironclaw. They continued down the shaped stone tunnel until they reached an opening that led into a small chamber with several passages branching off from it. Her eyes focused on a rack of mining equipment, bolted to the wall beside one of the openings. While Ironclaw walked to each tunnel, searching for threats, she approached the equipment rack and studied it. A layer of asteroid dust had been disturbed recently, and where the mining lasers were hung, one was missing. Claw, come look at this. She pointed to the open slot. Could be evidence of Stardoom's passage. Or there's something else in these tunnels. Using a mining laser for fun. Ironclaw scowled. Something happened to the dwarves that lived in that settlement. There's no reason it should be abandoned. No reason we know of, Val corrected. Ironclaw grunted and continued his survey of the room. After a moment he froze and cocked his head, listening down a passage. There's something down there, he said, hefting his shield and shotgun. Val heard it too, swearing and boots on stone. Prepare, she said, stepping to the side, aiming at the tunnel entrance. Ironclaw also stepped away from the opening and stood against the wall, ready to engage whatever emerged. A dwarf in scout armor sprinted into the chamber a handful of seconds later, and his eyes flashed to Val's battle rifle. Good, he shouted. Demon incoming! And he kept running. Shadows filled the tunnel entrance, and Val braced her rifle, fingers slipping onto the trigger. Then came a flash of tusks and fur and teeth. Welcome back for another episode of Errant Adventures, the solo actual play podcast where stories are told at the speed of dice. With me, Steve Morrison, your game master and solo player. Now come on, let's grab the dice and see where our story goes. Welcome back for episode 2 as I continue this first look at Stoneburner by Fari RPGs. It is currently live on Kickstarter, so if you haven't gone and checked it out yet, you absolutely should. It has already been fully funded, and I personally am very excited to get the full version of this game. When last we left off, Urin Stardoom was exploring the tunnels on an asteroid in the Long Belt, having come here with a few others to reclaim the old dwarven house Grandrock. He explored some tunnels and found a shadow demon lurking in those caves. He followed the shadow demon to a cul-de-sac tunnel where the demon seemed to be looking around for something, possibly the portal through which it stepped to enter this realm. And that portal was not there. And so Stardoom thought about slipping away, but instead chose to act against this creature. So he ambushed it with a mining laser that he had found in a previous chamber and got off a few shots at it, but quickly realized that the demon was far beyond his capabilities to handle by himself. So he turned and ran, and the demon pursued him back towards the first chamber where Urin initially discovered the demon. Fortunately for Urin Stardoom, his cousin Valrar Goldendelver, a striker, and Dakar Ironclaw, a stanchion, were trying to find where he had gone, and they just so happened to be in the right place at the right time to hopefully get Stardoom out of his doom amidst these stars. And wow, that was a terrible pun, but I'm going to leave it in. So let's jump in. as we're going to continue this combat now that Urin Stardoom has some reinforcements. So he's sitting at a D4 for his strength, a D6 for his dexterity, and a D6 for his willpower. His lance rune, which he has not used yet, is at a D6, and his mining laser is at a D8. He has 2 out of 4 resilience because he kind of got beat up a little bit by this demon. As the demon emerges into this room, I think we probably should start off with an oracle question here. And that oracle question is going to be, is this demon ambushed? Do Valrar Golden Delver and Dakar Ironclaw have the upper hand at the start of this fight? I think it is likely that they do get an ambush on the demon. So I'm going to roll a d8. We'll see what happens. A 7. The answer is yes and. Okay. They start with the initiative. So we're going to, since we had this set up that Valrar Golden Delver was holding her battle rifle up against her shoulder and was aiming down the sight, finger on the trigger, as soon as Urin Stardoom sprints past her and this shadowy figure fills the tunnel entrance, she depresses the trigger and her battle rifle goes dig, 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 dig. This is going to be straight up dexterity, which her dexterity is a d6. So I'm going to roll that and we're going to see what happens. Oh, unfortunately I rolled a 1. So again, in Stoneburner, you don't roll for attacks, you just roll for hits. And a 1, unfortunately, only gives us 1 hit. Valrar unleashes her battle rifle, and these hyper-accelerated pieces of metal go flying into the tunnel entrance. Unfortunately for her, this creature is more ethereal than physical, and so her weapon damage does not really do a whole lot. We're going to decrement the dexterity die down to a d4. The demon has 13 resilience, and Urin Stardoom in the initial fight had knocked off 3 points of it, so now they're sitting at 9 out of 13 resilience. Next, Dakar Ironclaw is going to step around the corner from where he was hiding, level his shotgun, and he is going to use his Coal Wash rune, which turns his shotgun into having explosive bullets, and he's just gonna dig. Roll a 5, which deals 3 hits. So they've got 6 resilience as the shotgun goes off and the entrance of this tunnel reverberates as these explosive bullets impact. And there's a from the demon as it takes quite a blow from it. And Dakar is like, demon, go back where you came from. So we decrement our rune die, and because of how initiative works, I can pass the initiative to whoever I want, so I think I'm going to pass it to Urin Stardoom, because that makes sense, as he sprinted past his cousin and now turns around, sees that she brought assistance as well, and he is going to turn, and he still has that mining laser slung over his shoulder, so he drops it down, and he's going to switch on the activator and dig. And let's roll a d8. A roll of 4, which is 2 hits. So a line of laser arcs through the room and impacts the shadow. And again, there's this demonic cry that comes out from the shadows as the shadows begin to move throughout the room. It is now the demon's turn, and there are 3 targets within this room. 3 viable, fleshy dwarves that it could tear apart with its demonic tusks. Let's roll a d6. 1 to 2 will be Dakar Ironclaw, because he's the closest. 3 to 4 will be Valrar Golden Delver, because she is the next closest. And then 5 to 6 will be Urin Stardoom. I rolled a 2, so it's going to be Ironclaw. This squat dwarf in heavy armor with a shield and a shotgun in one hand. He has a wide nose and long braided hair that falls down his back. He's just staring into the shadows, and those shadows rise up as if they're going to envelop him. And then coming from one side, then the other are these claws and tusks. And because this creature is very resilient, but not very strong, I'm only rolling a d4 for its attack. But I rolled a 3, which deals 2 hits. So Dakar, even though he is the stanchion, he's only got 3 resilience. So he immediately goes down to 1 out of 3 resilience as these claws reach around his shield and pull it back. And then this tusk rises up and stabs into his armor, and it doesn't quite breach the dwarven made breastplate, but there is definitely this crunching of ribs as Dakar goes, ugh. And that is what the demon can do. So it will go back to the top of the round. Let's dig some more with that battle rifle. But I think she's going to use her special ability. She's going to decrement her strength die from a d8 to a d6. And then she's going to fire a grenade at the demon. And now she has a grenade launcher attached to her battle rifle, but her ability is that she is a specialist, and it is a cost of 1 to activate. So that's why I decremented the strength die, and the ability gives her access to smoke, flash, or sticky grenades that explode on command. So I think she is going to attempt to fire a sticky grenade and is going to essentially, instead of hurting it, try to restrain it for a round so they have a free round to kind of take some shots at it. So she is going to roll her d4 with dexterity as she is firing a grenade, and it's like, Duk. It's a 2 on the die. So this isn't really a damage attack. This is more changing the situation. A 2 is going to be you fail or you succeed with a major cost. She raises up her battle rifle. She reaches to the grenade launcher and she presses a button, and there's a whirring like, and it changes, and she takes aim and fires that grenade, and the shadow just parts and the grenade sails past into the tunnel. And then that shadow sort of crawls up the ceiling past them, and those tusks are looming over her. And it is Dakar Ironclaw's turn. He is going to turn, and he's going to fire with that Coal Wash Rune again. So this is a d4 this time. Another 1, so that is going to be 1 more hit. So we're currently standing at 3 out of 13 resilience for this demon. As Ironclaw's shotgun goes, dig, dig. The stone on the ceiling of this cavern chips away and falls down, and Val has to cover her eyes a little bit as the dust is falling towards her. We turn back over to Urin Stardoom, who could take this out if he rolls high enough. He is going to sling around the mining laser. He pulls out his rifle and he drops to a knee. He raises the rifle up. He takes aim and is going to attempt to fire with a d6 on this demon. If he gets a 5 or a 6, the demon is dead. Here comes the roll. He takes aim. He sees those tusks flash in the faint light as the shotgun bursts are going off. He sights it up. He pulls the trigger, and with a 5 on the die, that's 3 hits. The demon falls as dig. The rifle shot goes off. Almost immediately, the shadows dissipate, and the creature falls to the ground, and it's really much smaller than he imagined. And there are pieces of fur and tusk, and it's almost as if the thing imploded in on itself. when it died. And Urin Stardoom racks another round into his rifle, stands up and looks at the other two, and he says, I'm glad you came along when you did. Demons. Yeah, there are demons in these tunnels. I discovered that. Val, you all right? She's sort of wiping that dust out of her eyes, and she says, I am. Are you all right, cousin? Yeah, I am all right. What about you, Ironclaw? You all right? Yeah, Stardoom, I'm all right. You really kicked the hornet's nest with that one, didn't you? Look, I was scouting. I found a demon. I followed the demon, went to a dead end. How was I supposed to know it was going to be a dead end? I'm just glad you guys came along. I suppose I should continue scouting. Now, wait just a moment, cousin. Ironclaw was injured, and it looks as though the demon cut you up as well. Perhaps we should return to camp, rest a little bit, and then together the three of us can explore these tunnels. Normally I would say that it's a scout's job to scout ahead, but if there's going to be more demons like this, I won't turn down the company. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to return back to the settlement where they initially landed. And we're going to do a rest. So if you rest, if you're in a secure space and you have time in front of you, you can take the time to rest. When you rest, reset your skills, artifacts, and resilience to their initial values and clear your grit usage. I totally should have used grit on that final shot. It all worked out, but grit is when you really dig down deep. You can essentially once per rest roll a d12 for any check that you want to make, and just gives you a better chance of succeeding. So they are going to return. They're going to rest. That is going to restore all of their skills to their initial value. Skills, artifacts, and resilience. Items are objects that give you narrative liberties and can be used in place of skills when making a check. They also have a die rating which decreases after each use. Gear is made up of common items found, bought, or given to your character. When reduced to a d4, they break, get lost, are depleted, or fade away from the fiction until made relevant again. I don't know that you regain your gear when you rest. It says skills and artifacts, but it doesn't say that you regain your gear. So I'm going to leave the mining laser at a d6. I like the idea of it being something that just eventually dissipates, goes away. We'll reset everybody's resilience. And then there's also a mechanic called Visions of Glory. Dwarves often receive visions from their ancestors, which offer guidance as they face the daring challenges of their lives. At the end of each game session, each of you receives a new vision of glory from your ancestors, giving you a glimpse of what your future could look like. When this occurs, decide what you would like to see happen to your character or the group in the next session, and note it on your character sheet. At the beginning of the next session, read aloud your vision of glory to help guide the story in this direction. At any point during the game, if your vision of glory comes to fruition, you gain an advancement. I wrote out a vision of glory for Urin Stardoom and the others, and because of the events of last episode, Urin's was to kill the demon, which we did. So he's going to gain an advancement. So when you gain an advancement as a result of a vision of glory, you roll on the following advancements table. Each advancement can only be used once, and its effects are permanent. When a duplicate is rolled, you may choose any other result on the table. When the result of the advancement is narrative, use the oracles and tables found in the game to learn more. What's really fun about this advancement table is you roll a d20, and some of these are, like it says, narrative, and can push the story forward. And then some of them are you just get bonuses for your abilities or your skills, or you gain resilience. I'm going to roll a d20 and see what Urin Stardoom's luck is like. I rolled an 8. Step up one of your artifacts. I only have one artifact, which is my Lance rune. So I'm going to step that up to a d8. So he gets better at tracking things. He didn't really use the rune when he was tracking the demon, but he certainly tracked that demon. So maybe he has a better sense of what he's doing. For Valrar Golden Delver, my vision of glory is find a more secure base of operations for the expedition. And then for Dakar Ironclaw, it is find a clue to the location of Broker's necklace. And that is something from his backstory. It is an artifact that he is seeking here in the Long Belt. So they've returned, they've rested, and I think looking around the settlement, there are maybe 6 to 10 other dwarves here who have been trying to clear out this settlement. They are in the process of clearing out several of the buildings, and so they cleared some space in the dormitory, and so they have some places to sleep, and they have a mess hall that they can go to. Other than that, everything else is taking time to clear out and clear away. And still, there's no evidence, there's no sign of where these people went. They spend some time resting, and then they are going to return back into the tunnels and continue their exploration of Kazab Baram. So they return to that first chamber that has multiple tunnels branching off of it. Urin points to the tunnel that he went down and says, that one's a dead end. Let's not go down that way. And so they pick a different tunnel. We should ask the Risk Oracle, is there danger when they reach the next section of this place? And I think because they just got done sort of fighting this resilient demon, I'm going to say it is unlikely that there is going to be some sort of risk at the next juncture. But of course I rolled a 6. So the situation is perilous and you have to make a check. So perilous checks is another mechanic within Stoneburner, where when the Risk Oracles tell you to make a perilous check, this means that failing the check may prompt harsher consequences, such as you lose control, you get hurt badly, or you're pushed to your limits. Whatever the situation is that we're going to roll up could be very dangerous for our heroes. Because we're moving on to the next point of interest, I'm going to roll a d6. 2. Decommissioned mining bots. Okay. Well, I feel like they might be decommissioned for the moment, but are they going to remain decommissioned? They continue down this tunnel, and this tunnel that they're on is descending deeper and deeper into the asteroid. And then they reach another branch of a tunnel, and they take the right-hand branch and they continue deeper and deeper, and then it opens up into this huge chamber. There is a massive hole in the middle of this chamber, and it looks like it's the entrance to a mine. And so they emerge into this room, and I think Valrar looks around and says, this must be one of the beryllium mines that the family always spoke of. And she looks around, and they see that there are these mining bots, and they're huge. They're almost like mech suits that are on either side of this hole. And it appears as though they have been decommissioned. My initial thought was that these decommissioned bots were going to come to life and attack them. But I almost think it would be better to roll on our World Sparks Oracle and see if that gives us an idea of what else might be going on here. So let's roll on themes. 6 and 4, resilience. 2 and 5, change. Resilience to change. So the change here is that they're retaking this mine. And so maybe there's something that is resilient to that change. Ooh, okay, yeah. So they enter this room and they're looking around, and there are stalactites hanging from the ceiling. There are portions of this mine where there is evidence that minerals were here before. And they see these decommissioned mining bots on either side of this shaft. As Urin Stardoom is sort of stepping forward and leans out over this shaft and is staring down, he pauses and looks around as there is something strange in this room. There's something unusual here. And then those mining bots begin to move and whir, and they are not decommissioned. They come to life and they turn towards the three dwarves. And then a voice says, "Why have you come to my mine? Leave, dwarves. Leave before I throw you into the shaft that your ancestors carved into this asteroid. Do you know if there's a bottom? I don't. Maybe I'll throw you down there. Maybe you'll find out." The three dwarves tense and are looking around the room, seeking out where this voice comes from. Valrar is going to speak and say, "Whoever you are, show yourself. This mine belongs to House Grandrock. Stand down or face our wrath." "Grandrock, you say? Well, I heard old Broker Longneck died, and since there's no other dwarves here, and since no one has come to claim this mine in years, I think that you're wrong. This is not House Grandrock's mine, it is my mine." "Show yourself," Valrar says, "and we will discuss this." And she's going to try and reason with whatever this creature is, which unfortunately for her is a willpower check. And her willpower is a D4. So pretty much no matter what happens, things are not necessarily going to go well. And remember, this is a perilous check, so if I get a failure on this, which is a 50-50 shot, because a failure is 1 to 2, things are going to go very, very badly. A 3. A success, but a minor cost. There's a pause, and the bots are sort of standing there to the side, and they're looking imposing with their built-in mining lasers and large rock claws that shear away stone and move it. Urin Stardoom, Valrar Golden Delver, and Dakar Ironclaw themselves cut an imposing figure in this cavern. And then one of the bots opens. A small green head with long ears and these wide goggles peers up and out of it and it goes, yes, well, hello. There's really no reason for us to attack each other. I meant no disrespect to the House of Grandrock. I just don't want to lose my mind. Urin steps forward and says, "No worries, friend. We're not here to take this mine from you. We just want to talk. What's your name? And what is this little feller's name?" I'm going to use the dwarf name table, but instead of rolling twice, I'm just going to roll once on it, and it's just going to be monosyllabic. Czar. Yeah. Hello, I'm Czar, and this is my mine. Your mine, our mine. Who's? My mine, mine. Apologies, I am not here to cause problems. I'm just trying to survive. It has been years since I've seen dwarf kind here. Why have you come? Val sighs and says, "We came to reclaim House Grandrock. I already said that." Oh, right. Yes, sorry. This mine is not part of House Grandrock, is it? Oh, yes. I see by your face that it is. Oh, I'm sorry. How can I help? There's a success, so they're having this conversation, but there is a minor cost. I don't know what that minor cost is, so maybe we should roll on the world sparks again. Let that guide us. So let's roll on the themes again. Family, 2 and 4. Family, friends. So there's a minor complication, which is family, friends. Oh, okay. So they're having this conversation, and Czar seems like he is starting to come out of his shell. literally and figuratively. When they hear the sound of boots on stone coming from another tunnel, and Zar kind of glances over and shrinks away, and marching into this room are 4 dwarves encased in battle armor. And on their armor is an emblem. It's black in the shape of an axe cutting through the stars. And out of the armored dwarven helmet, a voice says,
"We claim this mine in the name of House Darkenaxe."
And Urin Stardoom goes, "Oh boy, here we go." And that's where we'll leave it until next week. Thanks so much for listening. And again, go check out Stoneburner on Kickstarter. I'll drop links to it in the show notes. You really should go check this out. There's a free preview that you can look at and then go back it and enjoy it. And until next time, may the ore you seek be in the stones beneath your feet. Thanks for listening to Errant Adventures, and thanks so much to Tabletop Audio for the lovely ambient sounds and music throughout the episode. If you enjoyed the show, please spread the word, and if you want to support the show directly, leave me a review or buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com/errantadventures. If you want to interact with me, I'm at Errant Solopod on Twitter and Instagram, or you can email me at errantsolopod@gmail.com. I also post campaign-related materials on my website, errantadventurespod.com. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.